Welcome back to Cards and Comics, guys. I have another 90s insert set review. Now, I'm going through 90s insert sets, but only ones I actually own. So this is kind of a cool way of kind of showing off cards, but also showing you and telling you why I think this card set rates a certain way. Now, I've done a few of these reviews before, and I'm trying to kind of create a little like heat map or standard distribution of how 90 sets rate. In my scale, I have a 45-point scale that I've been using. So I rate it on selection, rarity, value, design, and a bonus 5-point category for just things I find cool about the set or just things that I think make the set stand out, that give it some bonus points. So let's go right into the set today. It's 1996 Fleer Ultra Hitting Machines. Now, this is one of the cooler sets I'm going to probably go through, because it just had a lot going on. I think it's probably maybe the best die cut set ever made. I think it's right up there, which gives it a lot of cool points, a lot of bonus points when we get down to that final category. So, what makes this set so cool? Well, let's look at it right here. I've got the full set here. I'm going to go through the set before I give it some readings. Start here with card number 1. We've got Albert Belle, Hitting Machines, and we'll just start right off with the design a little bit. So it's a die cut set, but it's this intricate design here where you've got the gears, the big gear, small gears, another big gear here. So a lot of die cuts, right? So this is a huge die cut. Just very intricate, very, very nice looking card. You've got foil here, so you've got a lot of great design elements here. So this is definitely some multiple design elements going on. So then we've got Barry Bonds, obviously a big hitter in this product. Okay. Card 3, you got Juan Gonzalez. So again, Juan was the MVP, so he was in a lot of sets at this time. There's the big dog, Ken Griffey Jr. We'll talk about him in a minute and sort of his value, but it's a big card. I mean, for a 90s insert card, this card has a lot of value, even in the raw form. In graded form, it sells pretty well. Edgar Martinez. So he definitely fits the theme for the set really, really well. He was such a great hitter and really a professional hitter on DH. Next up is Rafael Palmeiro, and this is one of the bad things I hate about the 90s set sometimes. In the 90s, you get a lot of Palmeiro and Gonzalez in sets, and honestly, I just don't like having those two guys in sets because I'm just not a big fan of collecting them. But there are collectors out there, of Juan Gonzalez at least. Palmeiro, I don't know. There's a lot of collectors, honestly. Next up is another good player, Mike Piazza. So again, just a really cool design. I just love that design, and a lot of collectors. This is a huge set for collectors, like set collectors, player collectors. This is one of those inserts of the 90s. If you're guys in this set, you have to have this card. Next up is, again, Tim Salmon. So, again, another player who has fans. I'm not going to say he doesn't, but would have been the player of choice for me. But we've already hit Bonds and Griffey, so that's pretty good, in Piazza. Then next up is Frank Thomas. So there's the triumvirate. Derek Jeter would have been too new to be in a set like this, obviously, so he would be out. So you got the 3 big guys, Thomas, Jeter, and Griffey. Again, Frank Thomas, nice photo on the back. But again, Frank Thomas. And then, last but not least, we got Mr. Matt Williams. So what we got going on here, we got 10 cards in the set. Matt Williams, 10 of 10. So it's a small set. Just counting them again. It's a small set now. And so let's start the ratings with player selection. Okay. So I mentioned there's 3 big cards here. You got Griffey, Bonds. So we got the Bonds. Okay. Whoop. Put it over here. Try not to get too much fuzz going on here. Or glare. You got the Bonds. We got the Griffey, and we had the Frank Thomas. Now, usually when I say, okay, that gets you to an 8. what can get you to a 9, right? So you got the 3 big guys. Well, you need some other cards, some other players. And the only player here that I'm really excited about, other than those 3, is Mike Piazza. Now, I would say I'm not too upset to get Edgar Martinez, because he deserved to be in this set. But when I look at it in totality, a 10-card set, only 3 of the cards that I would consider to be highly collectible for me, and the 4th would be Mike Piazza, so 4 out of 10. So there's 6 cards in the set that I'm just like, okay, they're players, I understand why they're there, but I'm just not excited about them, other than Piazza and Edgar Martinez. So I'm giving the player selection just an 8. So a good number, okay? 8's still really high, guys. I mean, come on, you know. There's going to be a lot of sets I do that don't go to 8. So we're going to do 8 for player selection. Rarity, okay, this is where this set really shines again. It's 1 in 288. And we'll talk about the infamous, or sort of infamous, parallel, right? So there's 1 in 288. Now, 96 Floor Ultra had a gimmick going on. And the gimmick was that all inserts came in a 1 or a 10x parallel, gold medallion parallel, where instead of this Flair Ultra logo here, get a gold medallion circular logo, which is kind of like similar foil, but maybe slightly different. I'm not sure. I've seen them before. I've had them before. I don't think they're that different. They're just a circle, a solid circle that says gold medallion. And then the gold medallions, by being 10x, are instead of 1 in 288, they're 1 in 2,880. So that's really rare. So this is not that. So this is not the gold medallion. And the gold medallions do sell for a premium. And they should, right? They're harder to get. So here's my opinion. So right off the bat, 288, very rare for a normal insert set. There are higher rarities out there for insert sets like this. But 288 is pretty good. So I'm giving this a 9 on rarity. There is a parallel, so I'm not giving it a 10. And there are sets out there that are 1 in 350, 1 in 400, 1 in 600. So those kind of, crazy set rarities like that will get the 10. This gets a 9. Really good. So my thoughts on the gold medallion. Okay. I've had the gold medallion Griffey before. I've had many of the gold medallions before. I've seen gold medallions sell. Like I said, I'm not sure they're that rare. That rare, they just shouldn't pop up as often as I see them sometimes. But they don't seem as rare as what they're advertised. That 10 times as rare, 1 in 3,000 pack type rare insert. So I'm sure there's somebody out there who's done some sort of crazy statistical analysis to show they're that rare. But even when I look at PSA pop reports, which are hard to even parse out that kind of data, just to see if it makes sense. It doesn't even make sense when you look at the PSA pop data. So in general, this set is still really rare. I've opened 96 Ultra. You don't get one of these in every box. Okay, I've opened a couple boxes back in the day. Never got one. I've never even seen one pulled. So again, they are rare. This is not one of those sets that was backdoored to the point where, it hurt the pop count, where they're just so easy to get. No, this is a set that's really hard. Hard to pull. It was rare. So I'm giving it a 9 on rarity. Value. This is where it's going to come into some, it's hard for me because, I'm going to review other sets in the future. Again, we got an 8 on selection, 9 on rarity. Value, I'm going for an 8 here because I do think I'm going to review some sets later on that the value is going to be, a lot higher than this set. But this set, in perspective to the year it was made, 96, it sells really well. So I'll just give you some numbers. Raw Griffies sell for $150. Raw. You can see him for $125, $145, $160, but on average, they're about $150. If you want the raw Griffey, it's somewhat nice. Not, where it's all kind of the paper loss here. Because the problem with these cards, we talk about condition, is, you can very easily get paper loss around these gears. You can get chewed up. So again, this is where that set gets kind of, hard from a condition perspective. Recently, again, that issue with those gears makes it where ten, even nines are tough to get, but tens are incredibly hard to get. Recently, sales, and again, these are all eights or 8.5s. So an 8 sold between 200 and 386. Now the 386 might be been a best offer, so I don't know exactly what that number was. That's what it shows on eBay. But there's a confirmed sale at 280. Sorry, at 380, 200 at PSA 8, SGC 85 at 232. That was an auction. Again, that PSA 8 was a buy it now at $200. So that is some pretty good sales for just the Griffey itself. Gold medallion Mike Piazza, I think at SGC 9 sold for like $150, or sorry, $200. So the gold medallion Mike Piazza sold pretty well. So again, you've got some pretty strong sales here. Value wise is really strong. I think if a 10 came up for sale, I think it would go incredibly high for a PSA 10 Griffey if one came up for auction. Because it's just, again, this set is one of those sets as a player collector that you have to have. I have the cut above here, right here, which is one of the die cut cards that you need to have as a player collector. If you like die cuts, this is another one. So if you like die cuts, if you want the coolest die cuts in your collection, you need, the Griffey die cut if you're a Griffey collector. So you just, it's like, it's a card you got to have. If you really like Griffey and you like to have a lot of diversity, if you're only doing autographs or whatever, okay. But a lot of Griffey collectors want this card in their collection. That's why you see it always sell really well, even raw. Now, so value-wise, again, I gave an A because I do think there's going to be other sets I'm going to do that's the raw Griffey is going to go a lot higher than 150, or 200 in a PSA 8. Now, design-wise, yeah, this is a tough one. I was wavering between an 8 and a 9 on the set. I know a lot of people would give it a 9 or 10, just because it's such a great die cut. In fact, I compare it here to the cut above, right? Which is considered one of the better die cut sets of all time. Again, more intricate, smaller, big die cuts. It's horizontal, so you got more surface area. Probably, I don't know if you could do some measurement here. So it's close, right? In terms of like which design is more appealing. However, when I looked at it overall, it to me, it is paper stock. So if it was like maybe some more holographic foil, it would stand out a little bit better. You got the full here, so that helps it. So I'm going to give it an 8. And this is where I might get a lot of hate for giving this set 8. But I just think there's other sets out there too. When I look at other insert sets that are out there that to me just have a little bit more design elements. For example, if this would have been acetate or foil board, where you had 3 elements, you had die cuts, foiling, and something else, that definitely would have got to that 9 or 10 level. I think the die cut alone gets it all the way to an 8. Like the die cut alone makes this card an 8. Like just by itself. Other than that, it doesn't have a ton other going on for it. They're not numbered. There's not, a lot of other things going on with this card other than just a really cool die cut. So I gave it an 8. Now, where I do make up some ground as a set is I gave it 3 bonus points out of 5. And I gave it 3 bonus points for a lot of reasons. One, it's early. It's an early insert. It's 96. Okay, we talked about insert sets. You had elites. You had cards were coming out that looked cooler like this. 96 Ultra had other cool cards in it as well. So there was this growing, list of really cool insert cards that came out. And this was sort of like the beginning of just everything exploding in terms of just design elements and just coolness, right? By 97, you had cut aboves, you had PMGs, you had all kinds of stuff happening in 97. I think Essential Credentials started around that time period. So it's like you had this kind of just first wave, like around 96, it was the first wave of really amazing looking cards that were really different. I know you're talking about there's elites, there's all kinds of things that kind of started this whole trend. But if you look at this design, it's hard to look at this design and go like, okay, this is just kind of like the next evolution. Now, this was a huge like jump forward in die cuts and just how intricate they were making cards at this point. You know, they really started upping the game. And this set really captured the imagination of collectors. Like I said, if you're a player collector, this is a card that has to be in your set. If you're one of the 10 guys is your guy, you know, there's 10 cards in the set. So, you know, I gave it 3 bonus points. So that gets us down to 36 out of 45 from a grade point. You know, so that's probably the highest one I've ever done so far. And again, it's hard not to look at this set and just be like in awe because to put this set together back in the day, I mean, you'd have to open up again 3,000 packs of cards based on the odds to even get a full set. And that just, you know, like you get this whole set plus 1 gold medallion, right? That's sort of like how that set was kind of designed. But it's just, you know, incredibly cool design that kind of came out of nowhere. There wasn't like, hey, we're going to, you know, like this wasn't a slow evolution. It was like, bam, intricate die cuts from that just look crazy right off the bat. Which is why I think really struck me as a collector, as a kid. You know, when I saw these cards come out, I'm like, that's just like out of nowhere. Like I didn't expect something like this as back in 96. It just kind of blew my mind that they could do something this intricate without it being damaged and look like crap coming out of the packs. Because, you know, even back then there were still condition issues with cards. And so, you know, even today, but even back then, I just figured there's no way they could do this and make the cards look clean and nice like they did. So I gave it 3 bonus points. So let me know what you guys think, how you would have rated this set. Do you think I was fair? Do you think I was overly sentimental and gave it too high of a score? Do you think it's too low of a score? Do you think it's one of those kind of perfect 90s sets that you can't improve upon? Let me know in the comments. I'll see you next time on Cards and Comics. Bye.